So then I said, yo, mum, I don't care if I've had too many E numbers. I want my fucking sherbet, man. Oh, that's so crazy. You don't care about what your parents think. No, of course not. Bunda feds, man. Oh, no, we're in trouble. All right, lads. This ball's stolen, isn't it? Let's play.
Fucking hell, man.
Yo, that goal was crazy. No, but genuinely, this is stolen. You're going to jail for 6 years. Yo guys, it is your boy Nirin here, and you are watching FTW. This is of course the series where I bring to you the best, and more frequently the worst, of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. But what has been kicking off in the world this week? Well, there's the news that 2 teams have been charged with a cyber attack that affected transport across the country. That one wasn't even us. Tell it to the judge, man. Legitimately, I think if you hacked the train system in this country, it would run better than it does normally. What do you mean the next train's next Wednesday? Marcus Rashford was back home speeding through the streets of Manchester when all the green lights had been hacked to the on position. He was doing that anyway, let's be 100% honest. Now, onto the football, and it's been a massive week. We'll come to Europe in a second, but like a man who's married to his own cousin, we're keeping it English on the streets today.
They're taking our houses, they're taking the lot.
And they took your teeth as well.
There was still the same threat of violence for Manchester United, but this time not in their own homes. They faced an away trip to their city rivals, so Jim Ratcliffe appalled seeing the price of a tram to the Etihad. It was United v Man City, and since Sir Alex Ferguson called them the noisy neighbours, they bought the entire estate, posted fireworks through United's letterbox, and then got them evicted. We're back from international break for this week, and clearly Pep Guardiola had spent the entirety of it sexually frustrated, with some stiff praise for new signing Gianluigi Donnarumma.
Just going back to Donnarumma, what does he give you that you didn't have?
He's so tall. That gives us is so huge.
Beg your pardon?
A wink is a madness. Him saying that he's tall and huge, they're separate quotes, mate. They mean different things. Pep must have been absolutely astounded when he saw the Italian in the shower for the first time.
This is big! This is huge! This is massive!
Guardiola, though, was horny for something else, and that was Derby Day victory. Would his Manchester City side be able to pull off a dramatic victory against the Red? Yeah, of course. These lot lost to Grimsby. I don't actually know what you're expecting them to do anymore. The opener in this one came from Phil Foden, because Ruben Amorim's tactic relies on Bruno Fernandes being a defender for some reason. Bruno was at least happy that Phil could put United a step closer to sacking Ruben Amorim.
Thanks, Phil. Now, sorry.
But I do think that his celebration was a little bit insensitive given recent events. Luke Shaw must have got information that the Glazers are on the Epstein files, because how this man still plays for this football club is beyond me. He quite literally disappears when it's time to do anything in a big match. Haaland then made it 2, and it was already looking peak for United supporters. Things were also not looking great for Seshko Mobile over here. Benjamin might genuinely be a supermarket worker based on current evidence. Another job he might be better off doing is being a barman. The barman at the Etihad, however, had a big shot coming. Clearly a United supporter, he decided as a joke to wear a United kit whilst pouring pints. That didn't go too well with one City fan who snitched on him and got him sacked, according to the club.
And he may have actually picked the wrong club.
United's easiest PR stunt here would be to offer him a job and do a full video on it the next time they win, which knowing them will be in about 4 months from now. It's peak to be sacked for this reason, and I don't think he should have been, to be honest with you. But people are acting like this is the greatest job of all time. He will probably be fine. It's probably like a summer job or something. But the guy who's done this is an absolute grass, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Erling Haaland would catch Seshko syndrome, somehow missing from this position, but would grab his second and Man City's third, thanks to Ruben Amorim conducting the world's first ever onside trap. He could be seen putting all of his United defenders' circles in the opposition's half on his chessboard. I wonder what the hell's going on through this guy's mind, genuinely, because the version of Ruben Amorim that United got compared to Sporting is crazy. He's literally just attempting to aura farm his way through the optics. Looking good can only get you so far at this stage. The United players have given up on him. Amad Diallo was asking where the shisha bar was by the 70th minute. I think he was on the shisha mid-match, to be honest with you, posting a picture of him doing a bicycle kick on his Insta story, leaving out the fact that he managed to send that bicycle kick into the stratosphere. These lot aren't winning a game again, let alone 2 in a row, let alone 5 in a row. Rose hair's going to be poking out of the stadium come 2028. An alarming statistic if you're a Manchester United supporter or coach or player or groundsman is that Patrick Dorgu had the most touches of any United player in the opposition's box. That's a fundamental tactical issue. I'm going to make a full video on the situation of United soon and Ruben Amorim's tactics, but they don't even use aggression, for fuck's sake. It's a Manchester derby. There was discussion going on Twitter in Spaces at full time, and Ruben Ruben Amorim clearly decided to dust off the old burner account because one man entered the space and it sounded exactly like the Portuguese gaffer.
That's the big issue. We had these big ideas for Ineos. But the moment I stopped believing is when Amorim stops believing.
There's no way you're not him, man. I'm telling you right now, man.
I wish I was as sexy as him.
Him saying to himself that he's sexy is absolutely crazy. This account hadn't tweeted in 4 years, by the way. The City result pushed him over to edge. Bruno Fernandes was probably in the replies asking for a 4-2-3-1. Meanwhile, I know Sean Dyche is waiting for this job to become available.
You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
On socials after, though, and Gianluigi Donnarumma tweeted that Manchester is blue. The guy's been there for about 20 minutes. Erling Haaland was getting his meat out. Meanwhile, at the other end of the pitch, and Benjamin Seschke-Fender has now gone 007. It's a drastic state of affairs for United. Since Ruben Amorim took charge, no other club ever present in the Premier League has scored less points than them. 31 points in 31 games is wow.
Man United fans, just lower your expectations, man.
Now to midweek, and United's players, just like us, will be sitting down to watch the Champions League on their TV sets. A competition for big matches, massive moments, Thierry Henry longing for the sweet embrace of Kate Scott, and probably a Real Madrid penalty. Hello, it's me from the future here, and yes, Liverpool will be facing off against Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid at Anfield, otherwise known as Diego Simeone's Haramball Atletico Madrid at Anfield. They were getting ready to play the most disgusting 8-1-1 formation, but we had a new attack in our arsenal. Alexander Isak was ready to make his debut, and it was a chance for the Reds to provide revenge after the generational hate watch of 2021. Thankfully, with Adrian being put down medically years ago, we had a better chance in this one, and when we were 2-0 up inside 6 minutes, things were looking good. Mo Salah managed to score despite being surrounded, and honestly, I was having a great time watching Alexander Isak so much as exhale within a 14-meter radius of the football.
Why is it already cold and nothing ain't even happened yet? Am I begging it? I'm begging it.
However, Atletico Madrid midfielder Marcos Llorente caused a comeback in 2021, and he scored again in this game just before half-time, before equalising with 5 minutes to go. This man will genuinely appear in my nightmares till the end of time. This man might be the greatest footballer in the world if Liverpool was located in the country of Spain. We saw what happened last time. Why didn't we confiscate his passport at border control? Who even is my man? It's not even the real Llorente. After his exploits and knocking Liverpool out of the Champions League 4 years ago, he actually has a dog that he's named Anfield. He's taking the piss, mate. But thankfully for us, Added Time FC would strike again.
It's a good header! Virgil van Dijk in the Champions League!
Virgil van Dijk would leap from a corner in the 92nd minute to head us 3-2 ahead, and these were the live scenes of me to Marcos Llorente's dog as soon as the ball hit the back of the net. How many added time winners are we actually going to get during the course of this season?
Probably around 95, 96, was it? 94, 95, 96.
It was dramatic once more, and Diego Simeone had a severe head loss, clashing with Liverpool fans at the end of the game and getting red carded. Virgil van Dijk had a clear message for the Argentine manager, and I've seen people talking about luck. We've been lucky during the course of the season, to be honest with you, but not in this game. You can't base games solely on XG, but generally speaking, we had the better of Atletico. We were just massively wasteful. I think it would have been more of a crime if we didn't win the match overall. In Germany, and in the first ever custody match where the winner doesn't get custody, it was the Nicolas Jackson derby. Now, this was a tough start to Champions League proceedings for Enzo Maresca's men, and it showed. Bayern deservedly running out as 3-1 victors here. A brace from Harry Kane being the difference.
You just got canned!
Now, I believe firmly that Trevor Chalobah must have studied GCSE German in this one, because he was practically egging the Bundesliga side on to win. Don't pass to him. On my life, he's playing for the other team. Another defender struggling in this one was Marc Cucurella, who was getting put in a split by Michael Olise. Cole Palmer did at least get himself on the score sheet, though brought out his customary cold celebration, despite still losing the game at the time. He then scored again to make the scoreline 3-2, did his celebration, and then it was called as offside. And genuinely, that is appalling behaviour all round. That's not cold. That's lukewarm temperature. Meanwhile, Nicolas Jackson had a clear message for Enzo Maresca as he drove past his former manager on the team bus. Now, as for Real Madrid versus HMP Marseille, I was sitting down getting ready for a Trent Alexander-Arnold hate watch, only to be forced to leave the hatersphere after 4 minutes, Trent going off with a hamstring injury for Los Blancos. Let's be honest, he just doesn't want to play Liverpool at Anfield. He doesn't want that return. He doesn't want that smoke from our supporters. Trust me, he's faking it. He'll be stepping out of that wheelchair 6 minutes after full-time at Anfield. Danny Carvajal, however, said, "Nah, G, you're not getting away with it that easily." The fellow right-back getting himself sent off in this match for headbutting Marseille's goalkeeper. Things got even worse for Real when Timothy Weah scored at the Bernabeu 31 years after his dad did the same. However, divine intervention would step in for Los Blancos. And by divine intervention, I mean VAR's intervention. I'm not sure how one handball here isn't given, but the other is. Either way, Real Madrid absolutely peppered Marseille all game and did deserve the victory. Now though, for Barcelona fans, and Marcus Rashford made sure they were eating good. The Catalan side travelled to St James's Park to face off against Newcastle, and despite a good start for the Magpies, a Marcus Rashford brace ensured a 2-1 victory for Barcelona. But he's not good enough for Manchester United. Alright, Ruben, mate. He'll be dancing on United's grave come the end of the season. He has the same amount of goals in England as United do, and he lives in Spain, mate. Ruben Amorim, I'm sure, will be realising that he's the problem soon enough. Let's be honest, he was probably getting aggressive whilst watching his performance on his TV at home. The first goal was an excellent header, diverting it into the far corner. But his second was your first goal of the week. An absolute screamer, picking the ball up, making some space from Sandro Tonali, and absolutely thundering it in off the crossbar. He genuinely hit it like a ball owed him money. His former United teammates were happy for him on Insta, most of them leaving comments. And it's crazy to me that he's got back-to-back goals in a game for a different team before Amarim's even got back-to-back wins. The Portuguese gaffer probably just looked at Joshua Zirkzee and sighed. Barca, I'm sure, will be rubbing Rashford in United's faces. They depicted him as Superman as they prepared to get back into Champions League action. Maybe the admin was onto something here. Arsenal got the better of Athletic Club Bilbao, defeating the La Liga side at 2-0. This one was honestly a playground scrap that just happened to have a football in the middle of it. Victor Gyökeres, the victim of a clash of heads, his bandage preventing his increase in expected hair flicks. This Mosquera youth they got from Valencia is fucking mad, mate. The fact they got him for £10 million is the craziest bargain of the season so far. He genuinely, you wouldn't even know that William Saliba's out. I mean, Arsenal as a defensive unit are absolutely incredible anyway. That's one thing I admire so much about them, and their defensive depth is incredible as well. I mean, they've only conceded 1 goal all season, for fuck's sake, and it was a screamer of a free kick. Either way, all that praise being said, they were in their rightful place in the league phase after this victory.
It's a disgrace.
The reigning Champions League victors were of course in action as well, and they absolutely pummeled Atalanta with a 4-0 win. Could have been any scoreline this one. Ivica Kvaratskhelia scored an absolute screamer. Atalanta pretty lackluster with the loss of their former manager Gasperini. This is the Atalanta that actually turned up. There was something quite unique about this game though for PSG, and that's that Luis Enrique was sat in the stands. He's apparently taken some inspiration from rugby, where managers actually sit in the stands and have like a little earpiece. They can watch the whole match unfold in front of them. Rosen at Xbox Live Party with his assistant manager. This is utter woke nonsense. Manchester City were in action as they faced off against Napoli, and saw a chance for a return to the Etihad for Kevin De Bruyne, their former iconic midfielder who left in the summer. Goal, 23rd minute. Kevin De Bruyne. To be fair, bold of me to assume that he'd even make it that far. An early red card for Napoli making this game easy for Man City, while simultaneously seeing Kevin De Bruyne substituted off early. He would instead be celebrating when Man City's players at full time. He's got some vitamin D in him, and now look, unfortunate he had to come off after 25 minutes. That coincidentally, the same amount of time he's allowed to be in the sun without getting heat stroke. For Monaco, and they had a bit of a disaster before they even arrived for their Champions League game. An aircon fault leading to their plane turning basically into a sauna. Every player having to strip down basically half naked and take to the runway instead. That's a different type of runway that these lot are doing. An underwear shoot at Heathrow Airport is absolutely fucking mental, by the way. Meanwhile, I know Pep Guardiola will be breaking Manchester City's aircon immediately so he can see Gianluigi Donnarumma's throbber. What even is this series anymore? Azerbaijani side Karabag pulled off an unbelievable comeback as they came back from 2-0 down to defeat Benfica 3-2. An absolutely momentous result for them. Given the comparisons here between the values of how much each team is supposed to be worth, this was a complete mismatch. You know, winning at all, let alone coming back from 2-0 down, is incredible for them. Meanwhile, for Borussia Dortmund and their favourite dessert, a crumble. They went from 4-2 up to drawing 4-4 in stoppage time.
Call an ambulance, but not for me.
Serhou Guirassy, meanwhile, has some serious dedication to his football club. So much so that he's changed his entire surname to Dortmund. But it couldn't stop Dortmund from throwing this one. The unlikely source of former Bournemouth defender Lloyd Kelly grabbing the equaliser for Juventus in the 96th minute. Juventus ultras will be wondering how exactly Lloyd ended up in that position.
What are you doing here? And not in a racist way.
And I mean, where does it end for Dortmund, man? These guys crumble at every possible opportunity in Europe. They'll always let you down. They've got a longer criminal rap sheet in Europe than Conor McGregor. Speaking of criminals, and Villarreal were in action. They faced off against Tottenham, the North London side winning 1-0 thanks to an early own goal. Their home fans brought out a sensational display for this one. In comparison to Arsenal's tifo, really shows what winning a European trophy will do to a man. Back in the Premier League, and Tottenham were victorious there as well under Thomas Frank, albeit against charity case and part-time two-time football club West Ham United. This was a 3-0 demolition. West Ham, I mean, they're just finished, aren't they? I've said it in a video before. Tottenham were getting techie over on social media, commenting on what a great player Mohamed Kudus was as he played against his former club. It's a shithousery award for their admin. But even more criminal than that for the Hammers was Crescencio Somerville wearing gloves in September. More like Crescencio, mate, it's summer still. Am I right? It's fucking warm outside. At Turf Moor, and as I alluded to earlier, Liverpool did a madness once again. This one had been 0-0 thanks to some haram ball from Burnley. I mean, in fairness, they were a defensive wall and we weren't able to break them down. Milos Kerkez, despite that, still managed to have a complete stinker as a defender that shouldn't have needed to do anything and was hooked after 38 minutes. The kid is struggling at the moment when it's time to do anything one-on-one. Thankfully for us, though, Hannibal would become Handibal in what can only be described as a possible example of match fixing, allowing Mo Salah to score a penalty late on. Brentford scored late on as well, this time to ruin Chelsea's day in a West London clash. Moises Caicedo had looked like he would give the Blues the victory, but Alejandro Garnacho lost his man at the back post and Fabio Carvalho was able to equalise. The Argentinian once again doing the thinkable. His highlights were poor in this one, though if we zoom in a little bit closer and you realise that Chelsea were actually robbed a little bit in this one, an incorrect offside call being given here. Look, I said the PGMOL are just incompetent all round. I've been saying that, but it didn't stop Brentford manager Keith Andrews from getting confident over on Twitter. He is the manager now.
Who do you think you are? I am!
At Newcastle, and they were victorious against bottom of the table Wolves thanks to some big Nick energy. What did you call me? There was controversial reffing in this one as this Wolves defender somehow wasn't given a straight red card for this last man challenge. I mean, like, what are we even doing here? Either way here, defeat for Wolves. Their manager Vitor Pereira having to get defensive when Eddie Howe tried to put Strand Larsen in the back of the Newcastle coach.
Strand Larsen, woo! If you're Newcastle, you ain't have him. You're not going to buy him off if no.
Elsewhere in the West Midlands, though, and things are looking bleak for Aston Villa. They haven't scored in the Premier League yet this season. Their only points coming from 2 0-0 draws. They then crashed out the Carabao Cup at the hands of Brentford. Their keeper commenting on the fact that he lost his contact lenses during the penalty shootout. You've lost on pens to a Don who hasn't even got depth perception. Honestly, there's a few things going wrong at Villa, tactically speaking. Realistically, the starting 11 they need in order to win some games is very different indeed. Things not really starting too well for Ange Postecoglou at Nottingham Forest either. After being defeated in his first game in the league versus Arsenal, he was also knocked out of the Carabao Cup at the hands of Championship side Swansea. Jesus might have scored 2 goals for Forest here, but he couldn't save Ange's managerial resurrection. And we talk about Ruben Amorim not being flexible or adaptable as a manager. Ange has got some stern words for any supporters that don't like his defensive setup.
You night moves.
Do you think it's going to look good on the news carrying on like a total
I don't give a f***. I didn't do shit.
The guy's already looking down at the floor in interviews. It might be game over. Yeah, well, mate, already want to fucking kill myself. In Spain now and at Barcelona, things are going positively for them. Unfortunately, in this situation, that meant an STI test, as Lamine Yamal was ruled out of action thanks to discomfort in the pubic area.
What is going on here?
Lamine Yamal back at it again. Did we really need to know this information? Like, they could have just said that he's not fit to play. Like, we didn't actually need to know. I just know that he's burning right now at missing games. Well, I mean, in more ways than one. This, I've got to say, I would not expect to see booting up FIFA career mode, and the official graphic that the club made for it even worse. Sevilla's admin has us covered, though, letting us know that they don't have any pain in that area. That's good to know, I suppose. Lamine's younger brother, however, was hanging out with what I believe is Yamal's girlfriend. I can't keep up at this point. Was this kid born with a Barcelona shirt on? Like, every single time. And it's always this one as well. It was that kit, pre-release, even before it came out. On the pitch, though, for Barca, and things are going well, as they slapped up Valencia 6-0 in La Liga. These lot were 1 goal away from getting Gary Neville'd again. He was left confused seeing he was getting the blame for this again on Monday Night Football. Real talk, we might have to get Valencia's owners deported. Like, how did they actually fall from grace this badly? You know, I know it's been a long time since they were in Champions League finals with Rafa Benitez, but this is an absolute disgrace for a club like them. Gavi, meanwhile, was getting his anger out playing a different sport altogether. Over at Real Madrid, meanwhile, and they had a difficult time as Dean Hoyson saw himself getting a red card. They're calling him Saddam Hoyson, by the way. It is absolutely crazy. This is 2nd red card for the football club already. He's going band for band with Sergio Ramos at this point, but they did still manage to beat Real Sociedad even with 10 men. Kylian Mbappe even inventing a new tier celebration that I'm going to break my controller over on FC26. There's joy and whimsy though for their Madrid rivals, Nico Gonzalez, treating this mic in an interview like karaoke.
Hey, yeah, 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 bandolera. Bandolera.
In Italy, and there was an absolutely mental derby d'Italia between Juventus and Inter, Juve earning the 3 points in the end thanks to a 91st minute winner from a 19-year-old. Hakan Çalhanoğlu's 2 bangers were not enough, but incredibly, both Thuram brothers scored in the same game. Lilian will be delighted knowing that his sperm is now worth 183 million. Both brothers could be seen on ref cam. I'm using this image for many things in FTW in the future. I just want you to know. It's actually crazy that 2 ballers have been produced from 2 balls. I don't know what's got into Juventus recently, by the way. The team that could only draw every single game last season have pulled out 2 absolute classics back to back. The cholesterol levels of their supporters are in the mud. At Milan, and Luka Modric became the oldest player to ever score in Serie A history at the age of 40 in a 1-0 victory. You know you're old when you're the oldest Serie A anything. To be fair to him, unbelievable longevity. At 40, Iniesta was playing with Eyez speed. As he said over on Twitter, age is just a number.
Check his hard drive.
At Fiorentina, and shout out to Moise Keane, becoming one of a very small and illustrious list of people who have got a song on the FIFA soundtrack, and of course are a footballer on FIFA as well. He's definitely the most high profile, the only others both being from England. Kamikaze, the first, who was a youth player at Leicester and then had a tune in the game, and Eyez, who was like a youth player for Fleetwood Town. Now, over the summer, Jonathan Rowe and Adrien Rabiot were most known for their clash at Marseille. They had a scrap on a training ground and apparently left one of them laid out, sparked out on the floor. Both of them, unsurprisingly, were sold given their conduct. Even despite Marseille's employment record, they both joined Serie A clubs. That, of course, meant they would clash this season, though hopefully not physically. And when Jonathan Rowe was substituted, the cameraman decided to pan directly to Adrien Rabiot in their game. Let's be honest, they were beating each other up 12 seconds in. Meanwhile, in France, it's been a great week for the Mbappés. Ethan grabbing his first goal for Lille, the 18-year-old doing it in the form of a 98th minute winner against Toulouse, and over in Germany, Wolfsburg pulled out an incredible display ahead of their game against Köln. Now though, time for your goals of the week. And first of all, we head to Algeria, where we've got an absolutely beautiful team goal being scored. This one is passed fluidly from back to front, and it's just beautiful cohesion. Lovely, lovely team goal. We don't really get to see many of those in goals of the week. A piece of personal and solo brilliance, though, comes from Poland. As with a ball in, headed back across, Alex Lavnicek pulled out this spectacular bicycle kick into the top corner. But if you thought that was beautiful acrobatics, then you've seen nothing yet. As we head to America for Atlanta's second team, where a free kick has been converted with a ridiculous scorpion kick.
Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty.
Not his own teammate, for fuck's sake.
And that concludes The Beautiful Game.
Over in Turkey, and Andre Onana completed his move to Trabzonspor from Manchester United. The Cameroonian, of course, fell out of favour after multiple mistakes at Old Trafford. This man won't survive Turkish fans, bro. It's a wrap. He probably dropped his passport on the way in. And incredibly, in his first game, he'd be facing off against Ederson, who just made the move to Fenerbahce. Manchester City fans probably had heart attacks seeing that he was in the starting 11, this being the Manchester derby that we've got at home. To be honest, though, Onana had a really good game. Like, statistically made a lot of saves, got a really good rating. Though, to be honest, I've never even seen some of these stats before. What the fuck do you mean a diving save got recorded? Either way, him and Rasmus Højlund both got great ratings the first day after leaving Manchester United, and Andre even provided some passion in the dressing room. Let's be honest, he didn't need to do all of that shit, man. The guy who's actually doing the speech just wanted to chat. Let me talk! A Legends game packed to the brim of some of the most iconic names in world football took place in South Korea this week, for some reason being Portugal's legends versus like a team of world legends, and somehow one country came out victorious here. Some of the scorers, though, incredible in this game, the likes of Figo and Miike. We even saw Ronaldinho reunited with Wayne Rooney on the same team after the FIFA 06 cover, as well as Gareth Bale and Ronaldinho standing over a free kick. What did these guys even chat about? A surprise inclusion was Ukrainian boxer Alexander Usyk, who came on for a 17-minute cameo. Let's be honest, he probably had some explaining to do when letting them know you're there resulted in him right-hooking Ricardo Quaresma.
I'm very few.
As I said, Portugal were victorious. Incredible to think Cristiano Ronaldo's probably older than half of the invite list here, and he's actually still playing. Speaking of the GOAT debate, and well, Lionel Messi not had the greatest of week, failing this chipped Panenka absolutely horribly, not gonna lie. It's probably the first time he's ever been embarrassed. Now, next up, when we've got some brilliant link-up play, and it set this attacker through on goal. He's left the defenders behind him, but unfortunately, he's got a pair of Heelys on. That is a selection of the worst touches I've ever seen, bro. Let go of the right trigger. It's okay. Over in Brazil, there's tension between Neymar and any defender that he's now rinsing these days. You want Cruzeiro, and how big is this guy if he's leaning over Hulk? Which superhero is this, for fuck's sake? There were disgusting scenes in Singapore, unlike I've never seen before, actually, where a free kick's been taken, and in the middle of it, a guy's just jumped and then stamped on the back of a guy that was in the wall. There wasn't even any need for this, mate. A side in the Moroccan First Division managed to do the unthinkable, getting 3 red cards during the course of the match, only to still somehow score an equaliser late in the day. Other teams got to have a word with themselves. I think they had a red card as well. What the fuck happened in this match? They need to chill out, take a second and experience the finer things in life, like building real-life table football and playing it with your mates. This is incredible, and I would like to now play this. Thank you very much. I just want to make that known. Now there is time for the moment you've all been waiting for, because over in Romania, with the season back now in full swing, Romania's antics firmly are as well. They're always looking to be innovators. Pioneers are the Romanians in the world of football, and so that's why they've created a new hospitality section, a VIP box at the Clinceni Stadium, I think I'm saying that wrong, which has an open view toilet. Yep, even when you need to go for a shit, you can still see all of the optics. Closer to home, and during a speech, the director of the FBI was wearing a Liverpool tie. He's defending Epstein in this video as well, for fuck's sake. Robbo's on the list, isn't he? You're telling me that the head of the FBI had emotional investment in this football club and nobody arrested Darwin Núñez? It's been a great start to life at Everton for Jack Grealish. He earned the Premier League's Player of the Month for August, a lovely surprise that he received from Kin and Dewsbury Hall.
Well deserved, mate. Premier League Player of the Month. Congratulations.
Thank you, mate.
There we go.
First one, mate, yeah, first one. I actually thought then you were winding me up as well. So.
At Portsmouth, and there's the revelation that both of their goalkeepers are in fact twins. Fam, this is the same guy. Like, the guys in their youth academy are all the same as well. The infamous Southampton dancing fan has got himself a new shirt, and I'm not sure if I approve of it, to be honest with you. Meanwhile, down at Wealdstone, they grabbed a goal this week in the Vanarama National League, thanks to their opponent's goalkeeper thinking he'd already made save of the season, getting distracted and then being beaten on the rebound. In Croatia, and Ed Sheeran was pictured with a Hajduk split shirt. What the fuck is this man doing over there? In Bhutan now, some serious violence on the football pitch. A push and a shove resulting in a volley in the back and a brawl afterwards. Shout out to Kerry in Ireland, currently 8th in the 2nd division. They pulled off an incredible comeback win to win 4-3 against one of the biggest clubs in the country in the Irish Cup. In Cameroon, and this linesman is taking no prisoners when some fans weren't happy with his officiating. Meanwhile, we probably had the biggest population mismatch in footballing history last week when the Northern Mariana Islands faced off against China's under-23 side. That's a population of 44,000 compared to 1.4 billion. Fair to say, China came out on top. Now there is time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. It's a segment of the show where I bring to you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. Now we're kind of cheating a little bit here because we've actually got a 5-a-side clip. But you can't tell me it's professional, ladies and gentlemen. This is still very much amateur. And I know this defender's not going to get himself a professional contract anytime soon, because he's managed to get nutmegged 3 separate times by the same footballer in the space of about 16 seconds. That is absolutely, you can't show your face on that Astro turf ever again. It's time to go home, wrap it up, and play badminton instead. On to the weird stuff though now. First of all, we've got not just news on one team, not just one player, but an entire league. The Andorran League right now is having to be paused at the moment. They've delayed the start of the season. It was supposed to start in September, but they haven't been able to play the first few game weeks because of a countrywide problem that's causing delays to visas for foreign players. Like, they're not actually being able to hand out visas quick enough to people that need them, which of course is affecting players who are coming from different countries and therefore legally can't play. And now everyone's just waiting around doing nothing. But finally, one man who's not waiting around whatsoever is the owner of Luxembourg side Titus Petonge. Now, these guys are actually owned by a German singer called Ado Kojo. And he's not a passive owner, let's say. Yeah, he wants to get firmly involved. He's decided so early on in the season to sack the current manager. And instead of going on a search for a new coach, someone with a bit of experience, he's decided to install himself as the manager on an interim basis. Things didn't go too well for him though in his first game because he was defeated 3-0. That though is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. It's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.